Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Cloudbeds live episode. My name is Paula. I'm a PR and partner marketing specialist at Cloudbeds and the host of today's show. In case this is the first time here with us, we host a live show here on LinkedIn every month, and I get the chance to chat with renowned professionals in the industry. I am that lucky. So all the episodes are recorded. You can find them on our website, cloudbeds.com. You just go to resources and then find videos, and you can find all the previous episodes there. Of course, I'm suspicious, but I recommend you to check them out because we have such amazing conversations. Of course, you won't do it right now. Right now, you're staying here with us to have this conversation. And as you can already see on the screen, my two special guests are here already, and I can see people are starting to join us. So Kat, always supporting us. Hello, Kat. Looking forward to this. Thank you so much, Kat, for joining us, for tuning in. Emily is also saying thank you for hosting. Looking forward to this conversation. Me too, Emily, me too. So because today's topic is such an important one, and we were talking about diversity in hospitality. And I was just reading about it, and according to PwC's report, the hospitality industry fares better than many when it comes to diversity and inclusion, but it still has a long way to go. So actually the same report reports a lack of data about cultural diversity in hospitality. And this is concerning because if we don't know, how can we change something that we don't even know that is there? So that's why I invite these two amazing professionals that have great insights and knowledge into this topic. So let me start introducing them. I don't want to be rude. So let me first welcome Calvin Stovall. Calvin is the Chief Experience Officer of Iconic Presentations. He specializes in delivering dynamic keynote presentations and workshops for organizations nationwide. He has nearly 30 years of experience in the hospitality and nonprofit service industry. And finally, but not last but not least, Calvin is also the author of forthcoming book, Hospitality Historiography. I think is that how you say in English? Sorry, Calvin, if I butcher your name now. Black hoteliers and these industry pioneers who revolutionized the hospitality landscape. So yeah, welcome to the show, Calvin. Sorry about you can say it, please. Please say it. Thank you, people. So I don't feel bad.
All right.
Yeah, but thank you so much for having the time to be here with us, Calvin. Looking forward to hear all about diversity in your upcoming book and everything.
Thank you, Paula. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much. And we also have here, as you can see, Joe Hindman with over a decade of experience in design, project management, marketing strategy, and creative direction. Joe has combined his passions, I have to say I'm with you there, travel, art, community, and hospitality, to launch the first hostel in his hometown of Greenville, South Carolina, called Modal Coffe Hostel. And actually the hostel received the 2021 Oscar with H for Extraordinary Inclusive Hostels by Hostel World. So congratulations, Joe.
Thank you.
Also so good to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk
Absolutely.
to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, people are talking with us in the comments. I always encourage our audience to interact with us. So Kat is saying, please let us know from where you're watching the show. It's always fun. So Kat is from London. Agustina always with us too. So let's rock it, Cloudbeds. Thanks for your support, Agustina. Nolan from Bali. Hello. Luis Fernando is Garcia. It's also saying, let's find the diversity as a great opportunity to be different. Actually, if you're watching this in the live show, let me know if you think hospitality is a diverse industry. I would like to hear your opinion on that. So let's start. I'm very thankful to have both of you as guests, as I mentioned before. So let's get started because I am looking forward to learn from you and hear about the experience. So let me start with you, Calvin.
Okay.
You are a hospitality historian, as I mentioned twice, and your book is coming up soon. So what did you learn, and how has diversity in hospitality changed or not, maybe, I don't know, throughout the years?
Wow. Well, thank you again, first of all, for having me, Paula. Excited to get an opportunity to share my perspective on this, and it's okay. The book is called Hospitality Historiography. That's okay.
It's a hard word to pronounce.
It's a hard word. Yeah, it might not even be the final title, but that's okay. You gave it a good shot. Wow, that question there is a pretty loaded question, but thinking about it from a historic perspective, we've always, and when I say we, I'm saying African Americans, have been in this industry since the mid 18th century. So the book starts there and goes all the way through the segregation era, Jim Crow era, to civil rights, and then there's a final chapter in the end that kind of talks a little bit about where we are today. And it does focus on Black hospitality pioneers, hotels, motels, and resorts. So it's a little more expansive. But just to talk about the difference now versus then, of course, there's a significant difference, but you do have to have, I guess, a historical perspective to see where we started. And if you look at it, most of the roles, of course, we had as African Americans during that, pretty much 3/4 of that book were pretty much in service, let's say back of house roles, housekeeping, cooks, servants, things of that nature. I mean, in places like Las Vegas or Atlantic City, we couldn't even get roles where they were being tipped. So we couldn't even get gratuity roles. So when you go way back then, and then that's where we were, and of course it's better now. But then I want to take you to 1993. Okay, I was a graduate student at Cornell University. I was involved with an organization that started there called the National Society of Minority Hoteliers. Okay, it still exists today. I think they're minorities in hospitality now. But I was asked to do a monograph on Black hotel ownership, and at that time, I think they were doing their third conference, and I think they had done some research, and it was way less than 1% of general managers at hotels were Black. Wow. But I think it was even less than that, and we had most of them in the room. Okay, so now you fast forward. I mean, if you think about that long time from like the mid 1700s all the way to 93, there wasn't much change. I mean, even you look like now, yes, you see more African-American general managers, which is great, more leadership roles. You're seeing more African-Americans buying hotels, but we are still only on 2% of the inventory that's out there. So as you can tell, we're making progress, but as you said, we still have a long way to go. And one of the most frustrating things that I used to see is organizations that would say, hey, we have a lot of African Americans here, but what roles are they holding? You can have 50, 60% of African Americans, but if they're not in management or director or C-suite levels, that paints a whole different picture. So that is, and again, I think the historic perspective just changes. You can see the trajectory, and I'm glad now we're starting to see a shift and things change. And even when I was in undergrad school, I mean, a lot of people that was African American stayed away from the hospitality industry because of that perception. I can't be nothing but, I'm not working in housekeeping. I'm not going to be in the kitchen. I'm not going to do that stuff. But there was a lack of awareness of this whole other side. There are whole corporate positions that you can have. But without that knowledge, a lot of people, we would have probably infiltrated the industry a lot sooner at a higher level. But a lot of people didn't know that. So fortunately, when I was an undergrad, I did that necessary research, and I knew there was a whole side of that. And when I became a vice president at Hilton, and this was the early 2000s, trust me, pretty much every single senior meeting I was the only Black person in there. So I'm glad it has changed and it's getting better. But as you can see, that's a long decades of very little or no change.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, okay. So sorry, Joey, if you wanna jump in, just let me know. But I just gonna read here a comment from Emily because I think she's saying kind of in the same line that you. I think hospitalities generate the diverse, but as you move up the rank, it is less and less diverse and more old white guys.
Yes,
I think partly because as an industry, it's not as flexible in how it approaches the working week, working days, working space, etc. Yeah, I think I agree with you all. I do think that it is. We say it is a diverse, but until a certain level, and then after that, then it gets much difficult. And it's interesting that you were saying about since you don't see yourself there,
absolutely,
then less people will want or even try. So it's like an evil circle because then less people try to get because they think it's not possible. I think it's interesting how one fits the other.
So true, Paula. You are so right. Yes, you gotta be able to see it to believe it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's Vincent saying hi from Belgium. Hello. I'm just I will try to read all the comments, but just saying that might not be able to. But please keep engaging. We love that. And I'm gonna go actually to you, Joe, because Calvin bring this perspective of African Americans, and I know you are more towards to LGBTQAI+. How do you see like the community? Is the community being represented in hospitality? Has it changed since you start working in hospitality for the last, I don't know, I think it was 15 years or so?
Yeah, so my perspective is obviously different than Calvin's, and I love that you've had both of us come on here because Calvin seems to have a very textbook education-based experience perspective. Mine's not. I didn't ever plan to get into hospitality. I worked in marketing for a decade, and then I just decided I wanted to start my own business because I was so inspired by an experience staying at a hostel. And so my perspective is a very niche experience within hospitality, right? Like I haven't had the big brand hotel leadership experience. I'm that small business owner in a very small town trying to carve out a very unique experience for travelers. And so I think, my experience is 100% based on my point of view. And as a gay male business owner in a very small religious-based community, I've had to navigate some very uncharted waters. But I think the one thing that I will say is been the most positive aspect of my business has been the community support that has naturally come by me just being myself and really championing diversity in my own community, not just my own business. I think as a small business owner, one thing that you don't necessarily always intend is to utilize or to emphasize aspects about your person that become very much associated with your business. I opened my business in the middle of the worldwide pandemic in 2020, which who was looking for shared lodging in 2020? That was not the ideal situation.
Right.
But the remarkable story that comes with that, and one of the reasons I think that we ultimately won that Oscar in 2021 is because it was actually one of my queer staff members who said, hey, the queer community right now don't have anywhere to meet. They have nowhere to go. Why don't we start hosting a space for them?
Yeah.
And I was like, of course, yeah, let's do it. I had no idea what to expect, but I had nothing to lose. During that time, everyone was trying to find ways to get their business to survive, let alone to start the business. And so we started hosting these outdoor experiences through markets, really focusing on how to bring not just the queer community, but our minority communities out. I am that white guy who opened a business in a predominantly African-American neighborhood that's gone through a lot of change. And rather than contribute to gentrification, I wanted to find a way to find space for everyone. And so there's always been this intersectionality between the queer community and other minority communities, whether it's race or any other aspect of life. And so it's been really cool to see how that's naturally come together. And there's been ways that we've intentionally done things, but I think part of it is, as a business owner and somebody who also is pretty active in our community, I've just seen a lot of this organically happen. Again, it's a very unique, very specific point of view, but as a small business owner, it's definitely what's ultimately helped keep my doors open.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Inspiring story, actually, Joe. Honestly, especially with starting with so much, challenge and being able not only to succeed, but even more than succeed. I don't know the word in English, but would be extra succeed. I don't know. But you know what I mean. You did it very well. I just want to read here, Agustina, because I think it fits what you're saying too. Like, I have worked at Marriott, Qatar, with people from 113 different backgrounds, each bringing their own unique stories, perspectives, and ideas. Embracing diversity in hospitality can significantly help the company grow, fostering greater innovation and excellence. And I think we chatted like really short before the show and backstage. Like, I want to know from you, Coffe, going back to you, like, actually it's two questions, like how you see that the African Americans impact the industry, or diversity in general can impact, like, why it's good, essentially.
Yeah, it's excellent. The young lady, that comment that she just made is it. That's the summary of everything. If you look at things from a myopic view and you only see through one lens, there's no way that you're going to be able to accomplish a level that you can with different points of view. And backgrounds and experiences, but you have to value that and know how important it is. But she summed that up perfectly. But unfortunately, in a lot of cases, when you get up further up the ranks in the industry, they're all looking through the same lens. There's no diversity there. But the weird thing is that you might go on their company website and you say, well, we're a diverse organization, but you look at the C-suite and they're all white dudes. So it's you can't say one thing and walk another way. So I think it is becoming more and more important. And what is so weird though, Paula, I was sitting on a panel maybe several months ago, and I had a deja vu because I'm like, I can't believe we're still talking about this stuff. And it was like we were talking about this 25 years ago, and it's still a challenge today. And I think we had made, with the death of George Floyd, we made a shift, and it's almost like you see cycles of it. And now you're seeing a backlash against DEI and all these other things. And so you're like, okay, guys, either you really value diversity or you don't. You can't. It's not one of those things where, okay, I'm in, your foot is out. It's like either you're passionate about it, you care about it, you believe in it. That's a values thing.
Right.
It's not a marketing plan. Yeah. So, and so that's the thing with me. I get passionate about it because I think sometimes people are like, oh, let's jump on this bandwagon. It's a great idea. No, man, this is how you do business, how you want to be successful. This is how you can be prosperous and grow. So it can't be, okay, we're going to do this right now because it's the good, it's popular. That's not the right perspective.
Yeah, and I think I'll piggyback on that. It's interesting. It can't be diversity for prosperity, right? It has to be diversity for humanity.
Right.
This mindset that we're doing it because we truly believe it, not because it helps our bottom line. And I think ultimately, a lot of these big box hoteliers, they're always focused on heads and beds, and they're just going to do whatever can save them money or help that bottom line. I think that, again, as a small business owner, I have the luxury of choosing how I run my business, but I also have the challenge of you're making decisions that a lot of times are not money-based. It's purely about helping or supporting or loving the community I live in. And that's my ethos. That's who I am, and that's what I want.
Absolutely, Joe. And you can tell the companies that are like you, and you can tell the companies that are not.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it shows. It shows. Definitely shows. This show, it goes so fast. we are ready. No, seriously, it is go. Especially when it's good, the conversation. Like, like this one, and I see more people adding comments in the chat. So thank you, everybody. Keep sending. If maybe if we can address them now, we can always answer in the event page there. So please write your opinions and questions, and we will try to answer them. And Joe, we're gonna go back to you, because you also bring a perspective of, because we're talking here a lot about being diverse in hospitality in the meaning of the staff, but you also focus on being diverse and inclusive for guests, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I would love to hear your perspective on this. Like, how can, hoteliers are listening to this, how can you make sure that you are inclusive and you are welcome, for real, different type of guests and stuff.
Yeah, and going back to what Augustina said, I think it's so powerful in the hospitality community how diversity by nature, since we're traveling around the world, you're constantly coming in contact with people from different experiences, different point of views, different race, background, sexual orientation. One of my favorite quotes by Mark Twain is that travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. It allows you as a human to grow. The only time that I see a significant kind of conflict between my travelers who stay with us is when they haven't gone far, right? If they've never left this city, if they are not coming from outside of the US or even outside of my state, a lot of times those are the ones, unfortunately, who don't understand why we celebrate diversity, why we are so emphatic around showing it, whether it's a pride flag or whether it's my staff wearing a button that says their pronouns. Those are the kinds of things that I think ultimately really help make sure that diversity is celebrated in our space. And ultimately, it turns around and it makes the traveler feel more comfortable when they see signals or signs that this place celebrates all people. A lot of the hostels that you go to, you'll see all the flags from all the different nations in their lobby or some form or fashion visibly on display. And so again, I think because my perspective is oftentimes very local focused for my local community, and often at times because we have a coffee shop here too, I'm hosting guests per se that may be day guests that are here just to have a coffee. I'm really one of the only queer spaces in our entire city. And so we have rainbow flags visible during Pride Month. We are very ostentatious in showing that we are an inclusive and affirming space. But I always double down and ensure in my communication, in my marketing, and when I get the opportunity to speak, that we are a place for all people, right? Like, I think that the misperception oftentimes, especially in the US, is when there's a pride flag or something like that, that it's a queer only
exclusive.
That's unfortunately, it's such a misguided perspective. We're not trying to exclude. If anything, we're trying to include people. And so for our traveling community, when we have guests stay with us, I've gotten more and more comments from specifically queer travelers or people who are just not, narrow-minded, who appreciate our willingness to be vocal and be supportive of diversity and inclusion within our city, because it really does have a ripple effect. My staff, it has a massive impact on their well-being, on their happiness, on their satisfaction. We have a really low turnover rate with our staff because as a gay male and as a person who believes in diversity, I champion that within my team, within my space, and they feel safe working here versus some other alternative hospitality companies in the area who don't really have DEI policies or don't have a space or a place within their team that makes their staff feel comfortable. So we get applications week after week for people working here, and it's more than often because we are an affirming place.
Yeah,
Wow.
You created such a great environment. It's like, of course, Sorry, Calvin. I think you.
Yeah, I just was, and Joe, that was fantastic, and I think what you sum all that up, people want to feel like they belong. That's That's it.
Yeah.
And
That's
Joe,
literally, yesterday, as I was interviewing a new team member, that's why this person applied to work here, is because he said, I see that you created a space for belonging for the queer community.
Yes.
And I was able to reiterate that that's absolutely our goal.
Yeah. And you said all the things, Joe. People, when you have an environment like that, people, they're going to have better well-being. You're going to be more profitable. You're going to have less absenteeism. You're going to have less turnover. There's a Harvard Business Review study that shows those things.
Right.
So this is not, like I say, a marketing fad thing. This is a values thing, and it's something that you need to embrace if you want to create a kind of environment. Like, it's all a culture. You got to create a culture like that, and that's where the success comes in. You can throw money at people, but that doesn't mean they're going to stay. It's all about, do I belong here? Do you care about me more than this job that I'm doing? Do you have the right culture that matches my core values? That's the kind of environment you want to create. And
I would say one thing, just to wrap up my comments, is, I think as a queer person, or even a small business owner who may be Black or may not be white, opening a business can be scary because you feel like you've already put yourself out there, and you're not sure if that fact about you is going to limit your profitability or limit people actually wanting to stay with you. And just by way of affirmation, I feel like me being my authentic self, my staff feeling their authentic selves, it has been the major reason why we have almost 5-star reviews across all of our platforms.
That's
and
beautiful.
Why I consistently get feedback from guests that we have incredible staff who are so kind, so loving, so affirming, all the things that make you as a traveler feel comfortable, right? Safety, cleanliness, and just a sense of peace. And that's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. That's it.
That's awesome. As I said, this goes so fast. We should, I don't know, do a second episode just about this. And just want to say hello here. I know people are still writing on the comments. I thank you so much for that. And as I said, hello from Namibia. That's awesome. As I said, we might not have time to answer everybody, but we can always answer later when the show is over, in our page event. So again, thank you for interacting with us. I don't want you to say goodbye before sharing. I want to say like a final advice or tip, because our audience always like to have at least one thing, so they can either think about or they can do it if it's something more practical. So Calvin, what would be like your advice? You have so much experience. You already mentioned that we're still having these conversations and it's still not changing as much as it could have for the industry. So as a hospitality leader, what is your advice or tip to other leaders who want to embrace diversity? And is there anywhere they could start, at least how they can start this journey?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you where to start. Go look in the mirror. That's where you start. If you are in a position to hire people, that is where it starts. I mean, you see sometimes we like to hire people that makes us feel comfortable. So we'll keep hiring the same people that look like us, act like us, do what we do, like what we like. That's just humans. But if you want to embrace diversity, you have to start doing things differently. When you're having you're hired through your hiring practices, brainstorming sessions, all of those things, bring diverse voices into play so that you can get to the best solutions when you're trying to solve things. And that's how you're going to do it. It is through you. So, if you're in your meeting and you look around and everybody looks exactly the same, you're doing something wrong. And you got to be the voice to say something. Hey guys, listen, I love all you. I love everybody in this room. But listen, we all look the same. We got to start bringing some more voices in here. But if you sit there and never say anything, it's just going to continue. So I just want to encourage you to have the courage to say something. If you see that you're not building a diverse team and you're not allowing diverse voices, you say something. Say something. That's it. And do something. Yep.
Yeah, great advice, Calvin. The same goes to you, Joey. I know you already share so much, but if you have a final tip or advice, to leaders to embrace diversity, or even maybe support local communities, because I know you're very engaged in that. So
I think right now, especially in the US, a lot of topics are very polarizing. And unfortunately, people put up walls before they're willing to have a conversation. And I think ultimately my personal motto is basically put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You can't understand how somebody else thinks, feels, believes if you don't ask, right? So you have to be willing to actually listen and be willing to learn. And I think that to Calvin's point, if you're in leadership and you're not willing to listen and learn from not just your guests, but your staff, I have learned far more about how to communicate and serve all facets of the LGBTQIA plus community because my staff are the ones who have helped educate me. I didn't have any perspective of what it looked like to live as a trans individual in our community. I didn't know what it meant to look like as a non-binary person of color. I didn't know what it looked like to be somebody who was queer and what makes that different from being a cis gay white male. So there's all these different points of view that I feel like as a business owner, yes, but as a human, how do I educate myself every day on all the different variances and everyone's points of view and how they live their life and what makes them happy? Because at the end of the day, that's what we all want, right? So how do I make choices, make decisions, create place and space for people to all have a sense of happiness, well-being, and love?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Empathy.
Yeah.
Empathy. Yep.
Yeah. No, that's so inspiring. I'm very sad to say, really, that's it for today. The show.
No way.
Yeah,
you just started.
Yeah, I know.
Warmed up.
But yeah, it was honestly very insightful for me personally. I always have a lot of fun in the shows, but this one particular, I hear so much, outside the box from me here. So I really thank you for taking the time, because I know, time is the most valuable thing that we have. So I'm very, very thankful. So Calvin, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Do we have any news on the book? It's coming. It's not coming. Should I not have asked?
No. We're going doing our second round of developmental edits right now. We're moving into the design phase because it is a coffee table book. So it have photographs as well. So we're looking at a launch, a release date by the next Black History Month.
Great.
Nice.
Which is
That's
fabulous.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I follow you, so
Yeah.
I'll
You'll know.
Keep an eye on when it happens. But again, thank you so much. And Joe, thank you so much for sharing your story and all the great things you're doing. I mean, it's really inspiring. So
thank you so much for giving me and us as a community this platform, this opportunity, because this is really what makes the difference. So Thank you to Cloudbeds. Thank you, Paula and Calvin.
Thank you, Paula. Yes, thank you, Cloudbeds as well. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. It was great. Please stay tuned for our next episode. And if you have any suggestions, feedback about the show, send me a message. I would love to hear from you. And also, don't forget to follow Cloudbeds on LinkedIn. So, thanks again and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.